Not only are we looking forward to meeting the people out at Bethel, but we're getting to know our team from the Southeast Conference. It seems like a great team that God's put together, and we look forward to what God's going to do to teach us more about Christ and more about each other. So this is a little bit familiar, but it seems like we're heading into something a whole
Quite a
lot
long
less
day
familiar.
today. We traveled probably a little over 12 hours in the air to get here. A little bit different temperature. It's probably in the low 50s and very different from what you're experiencing at home. We've got to meet the pastor. It's about 9 o'clock right now, and it doesn't look like the sun means to set at all. But we're looking forward to worship tomorrow. We're looking forward just to a great day and getting to know the people here.
The in it together goes a long ways when you're here in person, because I think the in-person connection does wonders for us. That Skype is a great thing and email is a great thing, but when you're here in person, especially within the community, you are able to connect with us, I think, like no other way, because you are here and you see the environment, you see the culture, you see how people are living. You've gone to AC and Swanson's, you see what that price of milk costs, and there's great value for people to come be here and give of your time and your services. We may have 100 people here that worship on Sunday, but most people in the church work. So for us to schedule to do the amount of work you've done in such a short period of time, that's a tremendous gift for us. I hope that we, with this partnership with the Southeast Conference, that we can partner, keep this going, so perhaps we can send a group down towards your direction and we can serve within the Southeast Conference somehow. As I'm sure you have needs that we can give of our time and work and labor. So that it's a tremendous gift of your time for your presence to be here.
Really, you can do a lot of private like those
The ruff is wolverine, and on the inside is squirrel skins for warmth, and the outer clothing is gingham cloth, etc. And on the bottom are what we call mucklucks. Down here they call them gummicks. The soles are from the bearded seal, what we call ugruk. Upon reflection and over the years, I refined my reflection on how I grew up. And this is what I like. Remember your former leaders who spoke God's message to you. Think back on how they lived and died. Imitate their faith. Hebrews 13:7.
Well, some people you sort of halfway expect them to be nice to you, but they don't have to be. Like Brad, I was extremely impressed with that young man because he's close to my son's age, and I know what they would have had to do to create a meal like that. And I don't know if any of y'all noticed it, but he didn't have napkins, and so he took paper towels and cut them in half. Now, that for a man to think about, I was really impressed that he did that. He had an appetizer, he had a coffee. I mean, this man really worked to prepare that, and then he was so casual and gracious about it. That really impressed me. I think he wanted us to be in his home. I think part of that is a little bit homesick. And it's kind of nice to be with people from the States. And I think he misses maybe some aunts or uncles from home. And I think we were those little surrogate people that he doesn't get, maybe in other ways.
I didn't expect for us to be able to be with the people as much and to see as much and interact as much. I thought we'd be doing more work than anything else. And that was, it was a great balance. But we learned so much from being able to share our time with them, and they were so willing to let us, from Philip, who took us on the boat. That's a lot to do and a lot of time and a lot of expense. One thing this trip made me realize was how important time and people are. And this is something that I think, I know myself, that, too fast, too much, huge. And sometimes we expect an immediate reaction or immediate fix. It doesn't happen that way. It's sitting down with that person and listening to them and just cherishing that time with them. And that made me realize how much more spending the time listening and talking, that's more important than all the doing and the running and all that.
And I think what impressed me is the depth, though, of what God has been doing in the native culture for apparently, at least 3 generations, probably more. I found it really fascinating that Bethel was a Moravian settlement because of all of our historic connection with the Moravians in our area. And they have such an incredible history of mission and of witness, incredible church. And so the Moravians being there, and then Sunday, I didn't know how to preach really. I just sort of winged it. Who was going to be there? And when you preach, you always sort of want to know your audience. Who am I talking to? And that determines what you're going to say. I just didn't know, so I just sort of winged it and thought, I did make adjustments and just threw it out there. And after the service, one of the native Alaskans that was sitting down to my left, he just said hello. He had a real warm spirit, and he said, "Man, what you said just connected with me," and just really encouraging me and thanking me. And I thought, man, what a brother. This guy's an incredible brother in Christ. I just, to see God working, here, and the foundation He's laid here is really, it's exciting. I know God has a great work in store in these villages and this state. Say to him.
Mostly that the people are really awesome and really willing to let you be there with them, I think is the biggest thing that I noticed. Especially Ida and Lucy from that store. All we had to do was basically mention one little thing or show that we were interested, and they'll just oh, well, there's this, this, and this, and then we'll talk about it, show you all this stuff. Lucy didn't have to go out and teach me how to use the Eskimo yo-yo. She was oh, I'll show you, because Josephine said that played with one today, or that day. So I guess it's the openness really surprised me.
I didn't come in thinking that we were going to do a certain thing. I was ready to do whatever needed to be done. I was just more interested in finding out more about the people and the culture and everything else here. And if I can get some work done, that's cool. I found out people, the women especially have the same issues that we have. We want what's best for our children. And I think they have a better, they understand what's important. It's not running around trying to get your kids all this stuff and, going and we got to go here, and we got to go there, and we got to go do the other. It's more, they know it's important because there's not a lot of stuff going on here. Like, they have the Facebook, but nobody's, sitting in front of the television every night and you're not hearing all this bad stuff that can happen because, it's not happening here because they don't see it every day. So I found that it was like, it's more focused on what's really important.
You guys have hit on pretty much a lot of the highlights of the trip that I feel the same way. I know that one of my concerns about going on this trip was, and I think James alluded to it, and I think even Pastor Hugh alluded to it, just wanted to be a blessing to the people in Bethel. We didn't want to go and push our work ethic or our ideas on them because you just can't do that. They live here, they know how it works, and it's really working well for them because they seem a lot closer to God than myself and a lot of them from day one. We were just, you set out to be a blessing to somebody and you just let the Lord lead you, and I think we did that as a team very well. No, just thinking about how it's been wonderful to help our brothers and sisters in Christ here in Bethel. Made a comment earlier that not a whole lot of people stopped by to see the work that was being done, which means they're all pretty busy. And that's pretty much what we're here for, is to be a blessing to them because they're busy. They don't have enough time to do it themselves. So they can carry on with their lives and we can serve them at the same time. Finish.
I also wanted to add that from having been a village pastor before, I felt a significance in the amount of time you spent with Pastor Hugh Forbes and his family, because Evelyn and I know what it's like to be a village pastor and to have people come and behave the way you behaved. Sometimes people come from the lower 48 and they kind of have a condescending spirit about them, like they're better than village people and like all of their ways are better and we're going to teach you how to live better, and you all didn't. You were very patient and willing to hear their story it takes to build relationships, and to appreciate their story, and so even with Pastor Hugh, as busy as he was, I know that the amount of time he came just to have coffee with us, and then the time at his house was, and it really made me feel good because he really got to know you all the way I got to know you during the week, and you guys, did a great job.
Tremendous gift of your time for your presence to be here, and I can't say enough about that, of what a gift of your presence. Your willingness to purchase your tickets and come be here and sleep on the floor and camp out, and kind of like camping, sort of.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Y'all come back, you hear?
To serve.